The year was 1804, and a quiet, fog-shrouded district in West London, Hammersmith, was about to be plunged into one of the most chilling ghost stories in British history. At the time, the town was no different from any other English village, sleepy, with a sense of calm under the backdrop of a bustling London, just a short distance away. But everything changed one cold, moonless night when a figure appeared in the mist. It wasn't just any figure, it was a ghostly form, draped in white, that moved silently through the fog like an apparition. The first sighting was reported by a lone passerby who, with terror gripping his chest, could hardly believe what he had seen. It was the shape of a man, but its movements were unnatural, too fluid, too quick. The figure didn't walk, it glided, its feet not touching the ground, as if floating through the air. In an instant, it vanished into the night, as if it had never been there at all. The strange encounter set the stage for an even more terrifying series of events. The next night, a few more witnesses came forward, each one telling eerily similar tales of seeing a man-shaped figure in the fog. Some said it was a white sheet blowing in the wind, while others swore that the figure's eyes glowed with an unnatural light. The tales began to take on a life of their own, as if the very mention of the ghost seemed to summon it, adding layers of fear with each new retelling. Each person who came forward described the same thing: the ghostly figure, moving in silence, its face obscured, and its eyes glowing with a cold, menacing intensity. The more people spoke of it, the more the figure became a part of the very fabric of the town's lore. Soon, there was no one in Hammersmith who had not heard of the Hammersmith ghost. As it came to be known, fear gripped the people of Hammersmith. What had started as a simple sighting had turned into something far more ominous. People began to change their daily routines. The streets grew emptier as the nights wore on. Mothers warned their children to stay indoors after dark, and families barricaded their doors with anything they could find. A strange tension took over the town, a collective fear that spread like wildfire. And with each passing night, the sightings only seemed to grow more frequent, more intense. Was it truly a ghost, or was something more sinister at play? No one knew for sure, but the rumors that spread through the streets of Hammersmith made it seem all too real. Was it the restless spirit of a long-dead man seeking revenge? Or was it something much darker, a force that fed on fear, manipulating the minds of the living? The skepticism surrounding the ghost was intense, and many tried to rationalize the sightings. Some believed it was nothing more than an elaborate hoax, a prank pulled by a few mischievous locals to stir up drama. Others were convinced that the figure was nothing more than a figment of the imagination, born out of superstition and fueled by the town's collective fear. But the more people claimed to have seen it, the harder it became to dismiss. The figure in white had become a terrifying fixture in the minds of the people, and no matter how hard they tried to convince themselves otherwise, they couldn't shake the unease that it had caused. And then came that fateful night, one that would forever alter the course of the story. Francis Smith, a local man known for his quiet demeanor, was walking through the streets of Hammersmith, the mist heavy in the air. The streets were eerily empty, and the only sound was the soft echo of his footsteps. As he made his way home, something in the distance caught his eye. At first, it was only a silhouette, barely visible through the dense fog, but as it drew nearer, Francis could see it clearly. The figure, the ghost, draped in a white sheet, it moved towards him, silent and deliberate. Panic surged within him, and for reasons he couldn't explain, his mind seemed to cloud with fear. The ghostly figure, which had terrorized the town for so long, was finally here, and in that moment, Francis did something that would forever haunt him. In his panic, driven by the stories he'd heard and the terror that had been building in the town for weeks, he pulled out his gun and fired at the figure. The shot echoed through the night, and for a brief moment, everything was still. Francis ran towards the fallen figure, his heart racing, only to find that it wasn't a ghost at all. It was a man, a local resident named Thomas Millwood, who had been pranking the town by dressing up in a white sheet. But it was too late. The deed had been done. Francis stood frozen, his breath caught in his chest as he realized what he had just done. Thomas Millwood was dead, and Francis had killed him, convinced that he was the ghost that had haunted the town for so long. The tragic mistake sent shockwaves through the community. and the incident quickly became the subject of widespread debate. Was it a crime of passion brought on by the fear that had gripped the town, or was it simply an unfortunate accident, the result of a frightened man acting on instinct? The trial that followed became the talk of Hammersmith, with many locals divided on the matter. Some sympathized with Francis, understanding the terror that had taken hold of him, while others demanded justice for the life lost in such a senseless way. Despite the tragic loss, the question remained, was the Hammersmith ghost real? Even after the shooting, the sightings continued, and whispers of the ghost's return persisted. The townspeople couldn't shake the feeling that something was out there in the mist, lurking just beyond their sight. Some believed the ghost had been a victim of a cruel joke, while others swore that it was a malevolent spirit, driven by vengeance. The debate raged on, but one thing was clear: the story of the Hammersmith ghost would never be forgotten. As the years passed, the tale of the Hammersmith ghost grew into a legend, a story that was passed down through generations. Was it truly a ghost that had haunted the streets of Hammersmith, or was it simply the product of fear and superstition? The town's collective imagination had woven a story that seemed too real to ignore, and even though the ghost was never seen again, the legend persisted. It became part of the town's history, an eerie reminder of the power that fear can have over the human mind. To this day, the Hammersmith ghost remains one of the most mysterious and chilling ghost stories in British folklore. Was it the restless spirit of a wronged soul, or was it simply the product of overactive imaginations and a town consumed by fear? The mystery of the Hammersmith ghost still lingers, and the story continues to captivate those who dare to delve into its dark and unsettling history. As you listen to the tale of the Hammersmith ghost, what do you think? Was it a real haunting, or just a series of unfortunate events fueled by terror and superstition? Do you believe in the supernatural, or do you think it was all a terrible mistake? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And if you crave more stories of the strange and the eerie, be sure to check out our next video, where we'll uncover more chilling mysteries from the world of the paranormal.